Hey, Storytelling Ron here. So this is the Kickstarter, 3 days to go, 11 backers who have put this over the top. And I want to thank you guys for supporting what I'm doing. I know you guys understand what I'm doing, and I really appreciate that. And I've played with some of you. And here's the thing about these 11 backers as well. I've never known any of them before doing this. And and this is a Christian role-playing game, which is a very difficult thing for me to push. I did D&D 5e. I did I would get a lot more backers then when I did that kind of stuff. And it's very easy to promote that. It's very easy to do D&D or Shadow Dark or Morkborg. Jump onto some of those other games where I don't bring in Jesus Christ. I don't bring in Christian missionaries. Christian missionaries is rot throughout. I don't know if it's a good word or not, but it is a good word because it's a rot throughout medieval history and throughout the building up of Western civilization that we live in today. Role-playing games come from that culture of Christian culture where we believe in games, we believe in freedom, we believe in people doing things, and we believe in civilizing the world and not perverting the world and creating horrible things. So and you can see today that paganism has taken over, and the corruption and the tyranny and everything that's going on. Christianity stopped that. Christianity planted churches everywhere so that there was a bulwark against tyranny and against craziness and against fanaticism. And we're losing that because we as a culture are not a church culture anymore, and we're not a missionary culture. We're not an evangelist culture. We are returning back to paganism, which is wrought with slavery, wrought with tyranny, wrought with terror, wrought with oppression. And the whole joy of like Greek mythology comes from Christians, because the original Greek mythology, it was a religion, so you worshipped and you don't offend this god, don't offend that god, and I will attack you for offending my god, and I will enslave you. So there was no joy in Greek mythology. The reason we have joy in Greek mythology today is because of Christianity, because we have taken that and turned it into entertainment. We have lightened it up, and that's sort of overlooked today in the culture. And as you notice, pagans are taking over the RPG culture, and they're taking over it so that don't offend them. You have to comply with this, comply with that. You notice that? Whereas the whole joy of the silliness of creating Dungeons and Dragons originally by Christians was just to have a fun game. But today it's not a fun game anymore, right? It's you're forced to do this, you're forced to do that. There's always that edge. Now I know they're walking it back a little bit. They're walking it back, but don't worry, they're gonna come back. We Christians, we know what's going on. We know what's going on in the world. We know when people are good or bad. We catch each other when we sin. Like in our church, in our church and any church, there are corrupt people, but they are keeping a low down because there's the foundation of truth and goodness is in the church. So any evil people in the church have to keep a low down, right? Keep it chill. They got to calm down. But out in the society where there's paganism, they just go for it. They go for it. Why not? Look at the criminality that's going on across the world. The church is literally the minority now in Europe, which is pretty horrific. Germany, everywhere, England, and the corrupt are taking over and they're controlling everything. And so, what the heck am I talking about that for? I know Jesus wins in the end, so I'm not even that stressed out about it. But I want a role-playing game where we teach this. What I'm talking about. The setting you have in this is like historically accurate, where you're going out to pagan worlds, pagan towns, pagan cities, pagan dealings, and dealing with what's going on. So in regular role-playing games, you go to a village, there's a dragon over there. Save us from the dragon, fight the dragon, come get the treasure rewards, come back to town, upgrades. The reality is you go to the village, we worship the dragon. Yes, we sacrifice to the dragon. That is the reality of medieval history. And the Christians came in and said, we're going to kill the dragon, no more worshiping the dragon, no more sacrificing your children. We're planting a church and stopping this. Now, that's the story of St. George and versus the dragon. And of course, what did the pagans do? They made a movie called Dragon Slayer, which I did love because I was a kid. But they made it so that the pagans won the day. But look what they're doing with it now. They're turning now into, well, let's go ahead and worship the dragon again and sacrifice the kid because we're the good guys and we're multi-talented and multicultural and or multi-tolerant and multicultural, and get rid of poo Jesus, you know. So this is a game, role-playing game. It's fun. It's got super fun, crazy dice mechanics that so you don't have to look up a bunch of tables. It's got and then you get to roll a bunch of dice. It's got you get to roll D20 plus a dice pool if you get up crazy levels. If you guys are doing a long campaign, if you're doing a short campaign, it's very quick to make a character. I don't have a bunch of lists of like what you have to do for each character class. You can kind of create your own skills and things that you want to do and explore as a character, and you should do it during role playing. Don't create a backstory. Create your story of your character during the role play. That's to me is way more important, way more wonderful than creating this whole big backstory with class, whatever stuff. So this is the game. I have the actual game free on my website for anyone that wants to check that out. Again, thank you, 11 backers. I know it's hard. I don't know how to promote. I can't promote this in the RPG culture, even though it's an RPG game, and that is my market, because no one wants to cross promote with me because I'm bringing Jesus Christ into it. I'm bringing evangelism into it, and that's okay. I am not. Don't hold it against any of them, or the RPG culture. I'm coming for you is what it's really at, and I might fail. That's okay too. As long as I plant that seed, I'm okay with my life. I'm okay with having a great time with other Christians. I play with Christians, and we have a good old Christian great time doing evangelism and mission work in a fantasy setting, in a sci-fi setting, and we have a blast. And I'm working just on my own doing all this, and let me just I want to show you what I'm doing though now. Just some other here. Let me go to this first. So this is a nice little thing on Not to Be about Christian nationalism. So anytime we Christians do anything, they scream Christian nationalism. Anytime we have our opinion based on our morals, we don't believe in sacrificing children or the unborn. We don't believe in surgery and butchering children. We don't believe in grooming children, right? We don't believe in exposing children to that sexual culture. We don't believe in exposing them to sexual identity or sexual perversities, and they are perversities. Man, woman, marriage. Do you want your children, your daughters and sons, to go around having multiple sexes, multiple partners all the time? And that's the culture? Because not even their human bodies want that. The sexual diseases and other things that they can get from that, not even the biology wants that. So that's what we're up against. We're up against this incredible, horrible perversity of sexuality. Do you want your child to grow up, meet someone they love, and commit their life to that person? A husband and a wife who then bear children and then commit their life to those children, your grandchildren? Isn't that what you want? Isn't that what you hope for, pray for? You pagans? You that hate Jesus Christ? Do you want your children to go around being sexualized by others, exploited by others, manipulated by others? You answer that. For me, I want my daughters to marry a man, commit with that man for life, and have children thereof that can be my grandchildren that I can mess around with and play for the Lord RPG with and teach them about missionary work. I look forward to that. I'm of the age now where I'm tired of doing medieval armored combat. I'm just not that interested in testosterone anymore. I'm interested in, I guess I do want to hang out with grandchildren here pretty soon and do some gardening. Because I'm just joyful and peaceful about it all. And I want to teach them about the Lord. So get ready. I'm going to brainwash my grandchildren just like I brainwashed my daughters. So this is like them talking about any little thing. I don't like Mike Pence anyway, and he's a Christian too. And I don't like him. I'm a Christian. He's a Christian. I do believe he's a Christian, but boy, the way he treated Trump, and then not just Trump, but the whole process and like courage. He's very, I think, a coward. So see, even at Christians, we call out other Christians. I would rather call out another Christian than have him like be a coward. If a Christian is a coward, I'm going to say it. I don't know that much about exactly what happened with him and his decision-making process, so I'm not going to go there. So anyway, so it's kind of like I'm siding with Trump. Well, I'm only siding with Trump because I believe that Trump is going to give us. I don't think Trump is necessarily 100% Christian. Well, I don't believe he's totally. I think he's miss whatever. What I do believe though is that he's going to help us Christians have our freedom to do what we need to do as Christian nationalists. So anyway, there's this Christian nationalist scream here. It's the same thing as white supremacy, white devils, racist, homophobe, transphobe, Islamophobe, which I'm all those things, by the way. Anti-Semitic, I'm all those things. I mean, as far as the anti-Semitic is supposed to be a scary term now, but I am against the Jews who are all secularists. They're secularists. They don't believe in God, the commandments, the 10 Commandments. Any Jew that doesn't follow the 10 Commandments, like don't commit adultery, honor the mother and the father, just those two, is to me not even a Jew. They're just a secularist anyway, and they believe they're a race as opposed to following God in his, following what Joshua warned them about. Anyway, so this woman said, "Creepy Christian nationalists alert." Someone said, "Have a blessed night" when they were getting off the plane. So that's what they're doing. They're slowly doing this little whiny thing. And they're like, Merry Christmas. Oh, they said Merry Christmas. They said blessed. This is paganism. This is them creeping into it, and they've obviously taken over the RPG culture, is where I'm contentious with, right? I'm arguing that they've taken over the RPG culture, and now it's LGBTQ friendly. They're forcing you into like this whole paganism, good works thing. And if anyone believes in marriage, remember some people got kicked out of Gen Con or whatever because they believed in marriage between a man and a woman, and then they're kicking out Christians now even. And to me, I feel making a Christian RPG that anything, lesbian sword, whatever person who did the lesbian sword game with the gay lesbian thing, no fear of getting kicked out at any game convention, none whatsoever. No fear of getting kicked out of a game store if that person or whoever created lesbian sword lust RPG, whatever that game was, no fear of getting kicked out. If you have an LGBTQ thing, no fear, you can go into these conventions or get onto the publishing and sell your stuff. What if you're doing a Christian one, a missionary where you're evangelizing a mission? Do you think that there's definitely I'm not afraid, but there's definitely that sense of, I'm gonna get this paganism is gonna whine and complain, and then I'm gonna get kicked out of everything, even as I build up my business or whatever. So because they're constantly doing that, their petulance, their pettiness against Jesus Christ is so typical, whatever. But she's complaining that someone said bless you or have a blessed night. Now imagine that, bless you, we can't even say bless you anymore. We can't say Merry Christmas anymore. We can't, in England you can't pray near an abortion clinic within 100 meters or something. You cannot silently sit there and pray. That's how pagans are. They know the power of prayer, and you cannot even pray near an abortion clinic. And they have laws that you don't even have freedom of speech near an abortion clinic here in the U.S. Like, I understand blocking entrances is not good, and if Christians do that, that's not good. But you can't even protest near an abortion clinic. They have rules now. You lose your God-given right to protest at an abortion clinic. And they make it so that they made the law so that it was easier for abortion people to get in there without even seeing you. And they build the city even helps the abortion clinics, abortion mills, killing babies, so that you can't even protest. And who are you? Your freedom of speech is against the people that are doing that, but you can't even. They make it so that you can't. They don't even have to see you. So you lose your freedom of speech, because freedom of speech is addressing something. Isn't that amazing? Although I do think that they should. Actually, I do think that they should protest at government halls in the government. They shouldn't even protest at the abortion clinics. The pro-life people that go out there and protest should actually do it at the government. That's where they should do it, and at the political speeches. That's where they should be gathering. Pro-life people, focus. Okay, so yeah, we're sexist, we're racist, we're Christian nationalists. They're constantly doing this to us, and so let me go something on a fun, lighter note here. Pirate Borg. Why am I bringing up Pirate Borg? And I'm backing it on Kickstarter. I'm pretty excited. I got the book too here. Where is it? Here it is. Why am I bringing up Pirate Borg as a thing? First off, I don't like. I'm just going to come out and say it because I'm a contentious person. I don't like the game system at all. I don't like how simple and kind of dumb the game system is. And I get it. it's Morkborg, Pyreborg, and I thought, oh, that'd be kind of cool to try it that way. And actually, Morkborg influenced my game, but I did build out the die ranks, which makes my game much more. You can keep playing that character forever and make a long campaign. I mean, hopefully you die a few times, and have to make new characters because that really helps make you and me more humble. But the reason Morkborg and Pyreborg actually have influenced me strongly, Morkborg especially started me off on the impetus to do a game. It was part of my growth in doing a for the Lord. Not because of the content. The content cracked me up. It's all very satanic looking. I got a couple of their stuff here, but I have no interest in, it's very satanic looking. Oh, I'm so scared it's satanic. Satanists are cracking me up. They're just ridiculous. They're just such an eye roll, Satanists are. I've been around Satanists. I go to goth clubs and I do medieval armored combat, and there are Satanists and pagans, and they're just stupid. Okay, so don't be afraid of Satanists. They're dumb. They're weak, and they're generally very nice, actually. But they don't have a backbone. But anyway, what was I getting at? Oh, so the game system I thought was really interesting. It really helped me see that I could lighten up. I didn't have to do 100-page game rules, and I realize that now. And so I appreciate. Thank you, McWork, for helping me with that. You are part of my making a Christian role-playing game with Jesus Christ and evangelism and all that. So I appreciate. It's pretty simple. Let me do it for full screen just for the fun of it. So I do want to thank the Morkborg community for helping me create a Christian role-playing game where I can create a nice rules light type of game. So I really appreciate that. Love Morkborg for that. And the artwork is they copied the Gothic. There's some paganism, but they definitely copied the whole Gothic era. So Pyreborg is just so again, I make a Christian role-playing game with evangelism because Morkborg has an open license. See, that's what this guy did. He did an open license of Morkborg, and then it was so easy for him. And this guy's successful, and I'm not denigrating that. I'm just saying what, from my point of view as a Christian role-playing game guy or content creator. So he created this, and obviously he got such promotion through them. They bought, they're selling it as well and helping him. But he's been quite successful on his own, doing better than me in what he did even before with the D&D stuff and his maps and stuff that he did. But so he did this, and obviously got huge promotion through them. And it's so easy to sell something like this to anyone, right? Anyone, even Christian RPGers, which is where my contention is really, are so open to all these games. And my game, though, is a bit of a, even amongst Christian RPGers. I've had Christians argue with me that I shouldn't be doing this game, which is like ridiculous. Okay. So, what I don't like the game system. It doesn't last. It's very simplistic. Whatever. But the artwork is awesome, and that's what got me into this. Like, wow, I really want to figure this out. I want to figure out. Oops, that's not a good example. I want to figure out the style and for myself to make my game have a better style. I don't like this book either. I like this book. I like the feel of it. Definitely this guy knows about printing. But just the artwork and the graphics are really awesome. And I was like, wow, I really, look at that. And even the texturing, on the back here is really great. And that really gets me excited. I need like that excitement to build up what I'm doing. And even the simplistic graphics are just like, dang, I gotta ante up my game here. And I was watching a bunch of videos of his stuff, and he's saying he copies other people. He learns from other people. He gets influenced by other things. And I'm like, all right, I got to start really delving into that. And so I'm delving into his work. And then he's, let me show you his site again. What I discovered then is like he does these. Let me see if I found it here. So this is a map he did a while ago, but I'm going to start doing town maps like this. My isometric view, but where you can place towns like this, and then they can go walk around because my tokens are face on, and it's just great to see that kind of a style. And I'm going to work on this as well as being the towns. I'm not going to use color because I want it to be printer friendly, and I like the black and white. Also, time-wise, I want to, although there's not a lot not a lot of color in these, so that's kind of cool, like this style. And so it looks like it's pretty quick, but at the same time, I probably may or may not do that. I'm not really sure, but I like the black and white. It's kind of a neat look to it, you know, versus the colored tokens. So they stand out a lot better. But I want to show you, I got the game. So they started talking, him and some other, he brought it up quite a few times on his videos, Darkest Dungeon, which I knew about the game, but I never played it or anything. And I've been playing it. And, oh, I want to say one last thing about this, about the Pirate Borg. You know, he's, another thing too is they take out, for pirates and stuff, they took out slavery because they thought it'd be too offensive. You know, they took out slavery. Slavery was huge, you know, in paganism, and like I said in all my other videos, slavery in the Christian world lasted less than 300 years. I mean, as far as the modern time, you know, and it ended in the Middle Age, Dark Ages in Europe, in Christendom. Whereas slavery was massive. It's the only thing existence you have in the pagan world. You're either a master or a slave in the pagan world. You have no other choice in pagan worlds. You got no freedom. In Islamic countries right now, you have no freedom. You can't protest the government or the Islamic regime that rules. You can't protest Muhammad or the religion or blaspheme. You know, death is your sentence. I mean, there's no freedom in Islamic countries. There's no freedom in atheist communist countries. You don't have any. You're a slave. You're a freaking slave right now, and people are like, "Oh, that's fine as long as Jesus isn't there." Okay, so he took out slavery, so that's kind of like, you know, really? And the Christianity is kind of removed as well. But he brings up, like, there's one little adventure here where there's a church and a monk, and the monk is weak. Which is interesting because he's not, you know, I thought he would say he was evil or corrupt or something, but no, he just said he's weak. So I'm kind of wondering if this guy is Christian or maybe, you know, raised Christian, but I don't know. But he's definitely playing the safe road with this story. But I want to bring up one little thing. I mean, here, I'll show you. I just saw the picture of so at the back he has the adventure, kind of like a sandbox, and this is a town. See, this town is really wonderful looking, and I want to do that kind of drawing for our towns that we can place them. And there's a church with a cross on it. Okay, so that's interesting. Okay, and then he has Father Wallace. You know, one of the characters is Father Wallace here. And what's amazing is that the abbot, old world wizard of a man. Okay, well, he just doesn't understand the concept of wizard, which is paganism. Runs the church. Mass on Sunday. No one attends. The church is broke. He secretly lives. I was thinking, he secretly lives as a pagan wizard, you know, evil guy. He secretly lives in a tent in Shantytown as he is too proud to ask for help. He does not trust the heathen witch in the swamp. He spends what money he has on rum and supplies from Davies and his men, turning a blind eye to their origin. Okay, so he's a bit corrupt. He's a bit of a loser. So they made the Christian guy here a loser, even though Christianity is what changed the world. It changed the world. It stopped slavery. It fought against slavery. And now I remember the slavery in the New World was happening before the church even really got over there. And the reason that the slavery was big in the New World is because the church made it illegal in Europe, right? All the kings and stuff knew they couldn't do slavery in Europe, so they said, oh shoot, let's just go do it over in there, because they're not enforcing anything over there. And the church, you know, you keep thinking that the church had all this power to control everything. No, it didn't. There's this great story I read, or didn't read it, I saw the movie, and then I looked up the info about it. But it's called The Last Mission, or The Mission with Jeremy Irons in it. And so I looked it up, you know, the story. But anyway, but what happened was Spain and Portugal were all, you know, taking over territories of South America, and Portugal still had slavery and Spain didn't. And Spain and Jesuits set up a bunch of churches amongst the natives, and it was going well, very wonderfully. And the natives were really Christian. They were, you know, and it was a wonderful time. But then Spain and Portugal had made a treaty, stop wars, and they had to give back some of the land. And the land they gave back had Jesuit missionary churches on it. But as soon as they gave it back to them, the Portuguese enslaved the locals. And the Jesuits tried to fight it. They fought it, and they fought their own church, and the church said we can't do anything because Spain and Portugal are seeking peace, and we need to start from there and then move on, to ending slavery. But the Jesuits said we don't, fought to keep them from being. Some of them remained to fight with the locals for their freedom. That's the church. The church doesn't have all the power, and the church is dealing with all of us who are sinners. And so the pagans in the left are always constantly degrading the world and or the Christian world, but all they have to offer you is evil. And so, okay, one last thing about the pirate board, which I found very interesting. I gotta find it because I was like, oh, that's interesting. I'm hoping this guy is Christian, or something about him that wants to be Christian. But I look for the nuggets. I look for what I can get, because this is all. Ooh, there's even an image here. I think it's a. I got it. Of course, he's a monk. There's a slight image of a cross there, but of course you could be worshiping. Okay. If you become a zealot, you can be you roll a d8. Whom dost thou serve? Roll a d8. And number 1 is the one true God. Wow. Number 2, Mother Nature, the ancient gods, chaos versus the deep, the dark one, the church, the great old one. So that's interesting. The one true God. Wow, I'm kind of impressed he put that in there. The church, that's interesting, because there are a lot of people who worship the church itself and not God and Jesus and the Holy Spirit. But the one true God, isn't that interesting? Put that in there. Oh, there's an item in here though. I gotta find it. I know I'm a doofus with my videos here. I saw it in here. I don't want to say it. Oh, here it is. Ancient relics. Okay, there's ancient relics. Like magic items, basically. Of course, you know that. All right, here's one. I was just kind of reading through. I'm like, whatever. Cup of the Carpenter. Choose a creature to regain D6 plus spirit HP, whatever that means. Cup of the Carpenter. That's interesting. I was like, whoa, Cup of the Carpenter. Jesus Christ. So we know. That was interesting. Okay. So I'm I'm not going to play Borg. Don't really care for the system, but I love his artwork, his what he's doing in that sense. So I'm going to learn from it. I'm going to be influenced by it. Also, the Darkest Dungeon, I'm going to be influenced by this artwork as well. The game sucks. Very grindy. It's very annoying. I'm playing it, but it's very annoying. I'm just like, but I do like the atmosphere they created and the artwork. So this is I'm gonna try to get work, ante up my. I've been looking for books and imagery, stuff to like. As an artist, where do they get these kind of ideas from? I know I've looked around and stuff, but I don't have the mindset for it yet. I'm still, you have to get your mind focused and in that zone and get those influences. I need those artworks all around me so I can see them and then start focusing on that. And I haven't done that necessarily. I've just did it off the top of my head, but I love the little details of these buildings and stuff, and the type of dark inking that's going on here. But I'm going to make towns like this, not as good as this, obviously, but towns like this where you can role play and just kind of like a role playing game. Well, this is D&D, or like any kind of role playing game. You go. Each town has each building has a character and things to offer in there, and I'm going to make that as a list in the Dark Ages book. I'm going to put something like this in the Dark Ages book. It's not going to be this good, and it's going to be black and white, the buildings, because that's the style I'm going for now. And you're gonna have like little charts where you can roll up different types of characters that can be in there and what's available, that kind of thing. So I'm going to do that. Put that in the Dark Ages book for sure. So I really like that style. I really like the. Let's see if this shows some of the characters. So, let me go back to this real quick. This is on Steam, by the way. This is like the, you buy your provisions and there's like a little list of things you can buy and stuff for each adventure. But okay. So I just really like this style too. And obviously the Pirate Board guy copied it as well. But I love the character styles here. A lot of Christianity in here. Let me go back to the town. What's interesting is they have like a nun character, and there's an abbey. And there's a treatment award and the treatment award. There's a nun in there that the image where you get treated for insanities and stuff and sicknesses, and then the abbey. Let me see if I shows the nun. Oh, there's is this the? Yeah, this is the Abbey. So of course they removed the cross. I don't know, See, that's how they're. Look, this weird thing here. Even though this is all obviously, they're just too afraid to show Christianity. Even though Christianity is, I mean, it was a dark, silly game, but it's just amazing that they that we're just so afraid now. They're taking all the motifs from Christianity, all the things that we built up in a society to create a better society. Christians created the mental wards back in the Dark Ages. They created the hospitals to care for people. They created the orphanages. These didn't exist before. The pagans didn't do any of this, and it was the Christians who created all these institutions and the universities. The only time pagans had these things was for the rich elite, and they would finance them individually. But there was never a charity of it, right? I mean, I got the historian Tom Holland in his book Dominion. What is it? Dominion. He said that a Roman Caesar was disgusted in how the Greek temples were failing and ailing and decaying, whereas the churches were exploding because of charity. They're exploding. All the people were going to the churches because there was charity amongst the Christians. Charity is an integral part of Christianity. And he saw how the temples were empty, and the priests were all transvestites going to the bars, getting drunk in a perversity. That was the norm of the pagans and of their leader, the pagan leaders. And what I mean by pagan is anyone that is not Jesus Christ. Anyone. So if you're offended by that, okay, that's too bad. Okay, so we got the Crusader here with the cross on the thing. They're using all these motifs of Christianity. The plague thing. This is a plague thing from the Christians who were. And why did they have these here, this thing? Why did they have this beak thing? The reason they had it, and it was obviously later on in history, is because the Christians it was a breather in here, and they would put all kinds of herbs at the end of it that they would breathe through, thinking that would kill the virus. Now, why that? Because they went around and helped people that were infected. The Christians went around and helped people, and they used medical procedures that they thought would help them. The beak thing was a filtration system with herbs and oranges or lemons or whatever that they breathed through, so they could avoid, hopefully the viruses wouldn't get them. And they went around and actually helped people. What would a pagan do? They would freaking banish them, right? Wouldn't help them at all. Banish them to death and suffering and whatever. It was the Christians who were doctors and made the medical stuff. I mean, I understand the rich pagans might help their own, but the poor or whoever, as much as they loved or whatever, they would banish. The typical thing was to banish, sacrifice whoever. So there's my another long-winded rant to sell the Kickstarter of Dark Ages. Whatever, I'm having a good time. I'm working today. I'm going to be with my daughter, hanging out with her today, but I'm going to be working as well. We're here in a minute, working on that village, getting a cool little village set up so you can they're modular pieces, so you can always rearrange them for the next town, and they can always go back and you can re-roll little lists there of different characters or things that are available. Possibly, I'm going to do that. That'll be fun. I'm gonna put that in there in the Dark Ages, so you guys have like a cool little town maker, and it's like little settlements type things that they go through the forest, the Teutonberg forest, the German dark forest to explore and find pagans and go to each little village and town and discover, because there's gonna be witches' huts, lots of witches' huts where you go in and it's tarot readers, fortune tellers, vengeance, revenge people, a witch who will do, you pay her so she will exact revenge on your enemies, she and her crew of bandits. So there'll be that kind of a witch hut. There'll be an apothecary type of witch hut, witch's brewery type of thing with all that like rape drugs and all, because that was the most popular thing amongst pagans that was bought was the rape drug, or love potion they called it. But think about it, it's the rape drug, right? It's the rape drug. A love potion, get some ecstasy, whatever, get some drunk, get some whatever, and you now have basically raped a woman who you got drunk, high, or succumbed to a drug. That was the most popular item bought by people from witches back in the pagan times. The biggest item, rape drug. we have erased history so that the pagan today looks good, and Christians have become guilty, timid, cowardly. Us Christians, our churches have become cowardly and timid, while the rape drug is coming back at full steam. And that is exactly what's happening in the RPG culture. That's the analogy, and that's the not even an analogy, it's exactly what's happening. We are becoming a sexual, perverse, exploitive culture, even against and groomers at our schools, in our RPG culture. Why? Because we Christians are not there to rebuke it. So, what a fun video I'm making, huh? Okay. So, to lighten it up, even though I'm talking about rape and rebuking, is to get back into the culture of the church. Build that up again, and one way is hey, do an RPG that's you're a missionary, an evangelist, planting churches in the game. Why do I say that? Why do I say do it in a game? Why don't you do it in real life? Because we don't know how to do it in real life because we don't practice. This game is about practice. It's about getting our mindset back into that world, and by doing this RPG, for the Lord RPG, the Darkest Dungeon, doing the For the Lord RPG, I am now becoming evangelistic on my YouTube video channel. I've never done this before. I've never been an evangelist. I'm an evangelist now, and it's all organic in that sense. And now I'm rebuking through my YouTube channel. And why am I doing it this way? Because I figured it all out that I didn't do all this anyway for the Lord anyway. Initially, I did it for D&D online, creating entertainment. It has turned into, and because I know how to do this sort of, and I'm doing it, I'm now turning that into my evangelism and missionary work. So you too can do that as well. If you're an RPG person and you're crazy and nutso about RPGs, but you're more crazy and nutso about the Lord, here's the game for you. Okay, so, man, another long-winded one. Anyway, I got work to do. I'm going to work on the village thing. I'm going to start drawing and working on that. All right, in the game of life, it says I'm ranting in the game of life. Roll holy dice.